What's up, everyone? Scenes Podcast, episode
17.
17. Today we got special guest Mike Rovetto on the show, big Eagles fan. We're going to give you our preview.
Fuck the birds.
We're going to give you our preview of, the Eagles this year. We're going to go over their depth chart and we're just going to talk about them in general.
Little things.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a nice little game at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. But let's get right into it.
Yeah, and I just want to say, guys, thank you for having me. I love what you guys are doing. It's awesome. Something I've been looking into for a long time, and it's just good to see that you guys just went ahead and did it. It's dope. It's awesome.
I recommend everyone to try. It's definitely really fun. If you're passionate about it, just go out, do it. Who cares? But we're gonna get into these Eagles. So where do we want to start with? You want to start with the draft? How did you think the draft went?
There's a lot of places to start. I think the draft is definitely a good place to start. And overall in the draft, I think for once, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think Howie Roseman actually did a pretty decent job. I think he did what he was supposed to.
Yeah.
Is the best way to put it, though. First round pick, Devontae Smith, slam dunk.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
You're that happy with the pick?
Absolutely. Listen, first of all, for us to trade with the division rival in the Cowboys,
jump a division rival,
that was
crazy.
It was amazing. Once they jumped in front of them, you knew that they were going to take him. You could say whatever you want about him and his size, but the guy was the most productive receiver in college football ever.
Yeah.
The guy put up records that people dream of. Won the Biletnikoff Award. The guy was a 4-year starter.
By the way, that award is given to the best wide receiver in the country.
And yeah, he had the most impressive resume out of any receiver ever. And sometimes one thing the Eagles do is they like to draft for scheme fit, and that's what they did with Rager last year.
Okay.
Which we can't give up on him yet. The guy has a lot of talent. But sometimes you just gotta draft the guy who's
the best available.
Exactly.
Talented guys.
That's what they did with him, and I think that was a slam dunk pick. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Especially too when the guys are young, you want to pick scheme, but the guys are so young, you could develop them into the scheme you want. It's not like a free agent that you're picking up that's been in the league for 5-6 years. It's a rookie. You could adjust how he plays and stuff. So
you know what interests me though, I know before the draft probably no one was talking about this, but Justin Fields to the Eagles. That's a low-key pick. And also to the Giants, too. The Giants had the opportunity to get him. They passed up. Justin Fields is a very highly rated quarterback coming out of Ohio State, but
I'm really high on Fields, by the way. I think he's going to be a star.
I feel as an Eagles fan, Jalen Hurts is good, but you'd know probably Fields has a higher ceiling than him. And it's interesting that they probably didn't even consider taking him.
He went to the Bears at 11, right?
Well, yeah, but that's when
we traded back.
And talking about that, that's actually a good thing you bring up. You always want to, if you have a chance to draft a franchise quarterback, put it this way, the Raiders last year, they were talking about moving on from Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And who knows what their situation was, who they thought they could get. But if they knew that they could get someone better than him, and Derek Carr's a solid quarterback, you got to take that chance. And I think a lot of people would be unhappy with that just because based off of drafting Jalen Hurts the year before with the whole Wentz situation, which is something we could get into if you guys want.
We saw the Cardinals do that too with Rosen and Kyler.
They gave up after him. They gave up on him after 1 year.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been surprised if I would have based on everyone's projections of the draft, but we all know they really have no insight on what the teams are thinking because the teams will never give away that information.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
This is all speculation.
It's all speculation. So I would not have been personally. I wouldn't have been surprised if they took Fields. I saw a lot of people talking about the Giants, for example. They thought about the Giants maybe taking Fields at 11 because he was there. That's why the Bears traded back, but. Giants stick with Danny Dimes. See how that works.
I was overall happy with that, but
you weren't happy.
I was happy with that.
They didn't trade.
We got a good pick from it too.
It's just
we got a lot of compensation for it.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds because it's not something you could just say he would have been better because we got to see what happens because right now Andy Dalton's the starter for the Bears. Fields comes in. We got to see what he does. He's a very talented player.
Also with the Eagles, they don't have a lot of weapons on the outside, so you bring in Fields. Who's he throwing to? It's not necessarily you're in a better place
And now you got Hurts. You got Hurts his guy. He's got a guy that he could grow with. I mean, this is what you want. You want to. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's exciting. So where else do you guys? What do you guys really fill up in the draft? Like throughout the draft?
Where do we
after the first round, stuff.
So in the second round, it definitely wasn't a sexy pick. I remember watching it live. I was actually at the gym, and we ended up taking Landon Dickerson, the guard from Alabama, who's a great player, definitely one of the best players at his position. You know, he did have a ACL injury, which ended his college football season. But like I said, it wasn't a sexy pick, but it's the right pick. Our offensive line is aging like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You know, they're a great unit, and I think they have the ability to be top 5 again.
Yeah.
But
it's good to get some young guys under them.
Of course.
Landon Dickerson's going to start probably not, right?
I don't think he'll start right away. I think he has a chance to.
Is he a center or a guard?
He's a center, but he could play guard too. Our left guard right now is Isaac Seumalo. Definitely. He's a decent player, but he's definitely the weak link on our offensive line. So it is likely that he could start, but I don't see him starting right away. Okay. But he definitely will within the next year because Kelsey, you know, there's been news about him retiring the last few seasons, so he'll definitely take over for him eventually.
Okay, that's cool. So, what do you think's your favorite pick from the late round from the Eagles? Like, what's the guy that you're like this guy might be it? Like a
diamond in the rough.
Yeah. That's a tough question because with Howie, he likes to draft. He likes to add to that defensive line, and you know, he definitely got some good people there late. But I'm gonna go in a different direction. Actually, a position that I really like our starter, but I believe it was in the 5th or 6th round. We drafted Kenneth Gainwell, the running back who played with Antonio Gibson.
Okay.
And dude's a beast. People do not talk about him
Where
enough.
Did he play?
I believe he played at it wasn't Louisville. I think it was Kentucky.
Okay.
But the dude can catch the ball in the backfield. He could run in between the tackles. He can literally do everything. He's going to be a great complement to Miles Sanders, who, by the way, need to give him the ball.
Yeah.
Need to give him the ball more. But
he didn't get enough touches last year.
But yeah. But they need to have a good split between them. I'm thinking around 60-40.
Oh, you think he's going to get that much touches off Miles Sanders?
Really?
I want Sanders needs at least 18 touches a game, in my opinion.
I don't even think that's enough.
Yeah, you could debate that he should get 20 plus. Last year, listen, our team fell apart. Our offensive line fell apart. When that happens, even though your offensive line falls apart, you need to run the ball. You need to run screens. You need to get the ball out fast. That's one thing that Doug Peterson, our coach that we fired, failed to do. And I think the people we're bringing in now, we also signed Kerryon Johnson in free agency, who's he's gonna be a guy for pass blocking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we have some talented guys in that backfield. I want to see Miles Sanders be the leader of that backfield. But watch out for Kenneth Gainwell.
Kenneth Gainwell.
You
heard it here first.
You bring up the firing of Doug Peterson. What do you think about the Nick Sirianni hiring? I heard a lot of rumors that the only reason why he was hired because he's a yes man for Howie Roseman, and he's not really. There was rumblings in the locker room that players aren't really that supportive of him. But what's your take on that?
Oh, that brings up a whole slew of things. But where we could start is with the whole Doug Peterson and Wentz thing. So the Eagles needed to pick one or the other. It was evident that Wentz and Doug Peterson, their relationship was done. It was completely done. You'd watch games, they're just not even talking on the sideline, especially after he got benched. So they had to pick one or the other. They ended up firing both of them, which I do think was a little impulsive. Yeah. But when you dive deeper into it, Doug Peterson, who was a great coach, a Super Bowl winning coach, the stuff he did was terrible. The play calling was awful. The who he wanted to start was terrible. Travis Fulgham was lighting it up for a few weeks, just benches him for Alshon Jeffrey, who's been injured for the past how many years?
4 or 5 years, it feels like.
And, he definitely had something left in the tank, but then there's Wentz, too, who was just stinking it up out there. They both deserve a lot of the blame. They end up firing both of them, and they hire Nick Sirianni, as you said. And, Philly media, it's hard to just gauge exactly what went on there because they make up stuff all the time. The whole Wentz isn't a good leader, this, that.
Yeah.
But Howie does want to do things his way, absolutely. And that's one thing where I think our whole franchise is has had problems with our owner Jeffrey Lurie, who's a great owner. And you look across every team, every owner that's good and every franchise that's good, they sit back and they let their general managers and coaches do their thing because frankly these owners know nothing about football. A lot of times.
Yeah.
So
that happens in so many sports too.
Absolutely.
They're just rich guys.
Yeah. But then there's a point where the owner needs to step in and say, hey, like you need to get your shit together. Like you're not. With Howie, he wasn't hitting on his picks especially last year. But he needs to step in and say, listen, like you need to do a better job of this and that, and that's clearly something he didn't do because Howie he's continuing to do things his way, and I like what he did this year. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Nick Sirianni, we're just gonna have to. I believe in him as our coach right now. There's not much we know about him other than working with Frank Reich, who's another guy who left us. But we'll see what happens.
Reunion between Carson Wentz and Frank Reich, they had a great relationship. That's why I went to the
Absolutely,
right?
that's a big reason for Wentz's success. Absolutely, he was a great offensive coordinator.
Like you said before, the Eagles had to choose between Wentz and Peterson, and they got rid of both.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, if you get rid of Peterson, you bring in a guy like Sirianni, who's got connection to Frank Reich. You keep him with Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
That could possibly give him a little bit of confidence.
Probably would have been the smart choice.
That's what I would. I would have kept
been the
Wentz. I
smart
would have given him
choice.
another chance. I would never drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Completely agree.
A lot of these picks, a lot of these moves are like, it's almost like a power grab by Howie Roseman to try to be like, this is my team. Like I decided what to do with it, even though it might not what you want might not actually be the best because you were given a franchise quarterback in quotes. Like in Carson Wentz a couple years ago, and with trading up for the second pick, and you have a guy like that, his talent. He had an MVP caliber season a couple years ago. He might have sucked last year, but we all know the relationship between Peterson and him weren't good. Like you said before, why do you get rid of him and Peterson? Like, that doesn't really make any sense to me.
Completely agree with you.
The world may never know.
Yeah, and that's
just like
we'll never know it's with a bunch of teams, but especially the Eagles. We don't know what really went on in that building. They clearly had a long discussion of that.
Did Howie draft Carson Wentz?
Howie did draft Carson Wentz. They traded up to the number 2 spot to draft him.
Usually a GM will stick with their guy who they drafted, like Gettleman.
And they paid him too.
Jones, right? Yep. It's like usually a GM is attached to their top draft pick most of the time.
Yeah,
and that
surprises me the way he went about that.
And that's a huge confidence thing. They talk about Wentz lost all his confidence. Well, how come they didn't commit to him? I mean, like you said, he had an MVP caliber season, and then and he's been solid, and then he has that terrible year. Sometimes the guy just needs some reinforcement. You're our guy. We're gonna get better. We're gonna get you help. They failed to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what their thought process was.
Even going out this year, though, like if they kept Carson, I mean, they went out there, got Devonta Smith. Like, he's a great player. So,
exactly.
I have a question about Carson Wentz. How do you think he's going to do in Indy?
I think. Listen, Frank Reich is a big reason why Wentz had his MVP caliber season. I think he's going to do phenomenal. You just look at the Colts roster. There's no reason. Reason he shouldn't be good. Again, we'll see what happens. But they have easily a top 5 run game. You have Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack,
Hines,
and Nyheim Hines in that backfield. You have the best offensive line in the league. It's between them and the Browns. And then the only thing you could really say is he doesn't have like that number one receiver. But they have T.Y. Hilton, who's a veteran. They have Michael Pittman, who I think is going to actually have a breakout season. I think he'll definitely take a step up this year. And then they have probably a top 5, top 10 defense.
Oh, top 5 off last year. I think a lot of people say top 5.
Absolutely.
Fantasy football wise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, fantasy football. They might have been number 1 fantasy football.
They were a great defense last year. They forced a lot of turnovers.
I think it'll be a top 15 quarterback in the league next year.
I think that's a reasonable take, and I would agree with that.
He's got some decent weapons on offense. He's got Jonathan Taylor to take some of the pressure off him in the run game with a great offensive line. He'll have more help, more time to throw the ball. Who was wide receiver? T.Y. Hilton still there?
Yeah, it's T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman.
Else.
There isn't really much out of that.
They have a tight end.
Because they didn't end up drafting anyone.
Jack Doyle's still there. And
I think he's still there.
What's his name left? Eric Ebron with the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, last season.
He's not there anymore. He's a good threat. I wish they kept him.
You know,
that would be really
that's one thing. I wish because obviously I'm rooting for Carson Wentz as an Eagles fan. You know, some Eagles fans aren't, which I don't really understand. But
because Philly fans are fucking stupid.
Yeah, to a degree they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna put this out there. There are fans from every single sport
exactly.
that are stupid.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions in sports, where they say, "Oh, this fan base is so bad." Every fan base is biased to a degree. And they have their own opinions, and you can't tell them otherwise.
Big media, East Coast teams, especially like the New York media, Philly media, like New England, Boston media.
Yeah.
These bad fans get like magnified because they're under the spotlight.
I mean, no fan base is perfect.
But like Kansas City fans are never gonna get any slander for saying, "Oh, Kansas City fans are good because it's a small market."
Yeah.
Like they're never gonna get any.
Fair point.
New York Giants fans are gonna be like, "Oh, half the fans say this and they have bad
100%.
takes." They're gonna get all the spotlight because they're New York.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think that there are bad fans of every single team, and the only reason why people have this perception, I should say, that Philly fans are bad. Giants fans are bad. Like as New York fans, we may think Philly fans are scumbags just because we hate each other.
Your division rivals.
Oh yeah.
That's just the way it is.
That's how it works.
I mean, I still hate Philly fans. I mean,
we always
Don't
will.
get me started with Giants.
We always will, but
At least you're not Cowboys fans. So
exactly. Shout out to John. Fuck the
Fuck the
Cowgirls.
East when they're on the West Coast. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyone want to tell me
fair
that?
point.
I don't fucking know. I mean,
That makes no sense.
I talking about the NFC East. So I want to hear it from you. What do you think your ranking of the NFC East is going to be? I want 1 through 4. If you can, give me a circle about records too.
Okay.
It's not too much.
I'm
putting you on the spot a little bit. Sorry.
No, not at all.
We talked about this before,
I
so
definitely have an answer for you. So, number one, the easiest way to gauge this is just to go with the best quarterback in the division. That's Dak Prescott. No bias aside.
Yeah.
It's not even close, really. So I definitely put them at 1. They drafted all defense in this draft. Their defense was terrible last year. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year. They're going to be a little bit better. I don't see them being like a top 15 or anything like that.
A lot of Cowboys, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of Cowboys fans weren't very happy with the Michael Parsons pick because
he's not a coverage linebacker.
It's not only that; it's that they have bigger needs in other positions on defense. They need a corner. They don't have one. Do they have a corner? They have what's the one guy's name? Their number one.
Their number one. Who was it?
Their number one this year was what's his face? Oh my god.
It was
he was
the
a
guy
young
out
guy.
of Alabama, Diggs.
Diggs, yeah.
And that's not going to cut it.
And
especially with the receivers in the NFC East now.
I mean, we have great receivers here. But I think them losing Byron Jones a few years back was really brutal on them. Like, a lot of people underrated him because he didn't put up the numbers. He wasn't a stat sheet guy. Like, he just didn't get the ball thrown to the side of the field. That's why he didn't get the numbers. Yeah.
Cowboys were kind of in a bind though. Like you look at their draft pick with Michael Parsons. Their number one guy, Pat Surtain, was off the board.
Yeah.
And so was J.C. Horn, who he's going to be a stud, by the way.
He went to the Broncos?
Panthers.
J.C. Horn went to the Panthers. Pat Surtain went to the Broncos.
Okay, my fault.
But
the Giants apparently were looking at Pat Surtain as well. And J.C. Horn. Like, dude, I swear corners in this league are so like highly valued.
It was a really good corner draft. There was a lot of talent. The Cowboys drafted some guys late, but they're really boomer busts. They got one guy out of Kentucky. His name's not coming to me right now, but he has some upside. And they added a bunch of people in free agency. They added a lot of safeties and like linebackers, but they're gonna be better this year on the defensive side.
If I were the Cowboys, what I would have done, I would have probably traded out of that pick if the trade was there. Let's say a good trade was there, because Dave Gettleman always says, people always ask him, why don't you trade back? And he's like, there has to be a trade to trade back. Someone has to offer me something worth trading back, because he's known for never really trading trading back in drafts. This was his first time he's ever done it this year. If the Cowboys trade back maybe 10 slots, get a guy like Caleb Farley who has injury history coming off an injury, but he's a lot of people think he was the best corner in the draft, but his injury,
most explosive for sure.
His injury made him slide. If I'm the Cowboys, I would rather probably go for a guy like that. Then Michael Parsons is going to be a great player, probably. Chances are it's going to be a great
I fucking
player.
hope not.
I hope not too, but chances are he'll probably be good.
Yeah, very talented.
But if I'm the Cowboys, they need more draft picks because their defensive depth is pretty poor. I probably would have traded back if I had the opportunity, but I'm not the GM, and I don't know what was going on in the war room, so I can't tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. It was just something. This draft, it was. As a Giants fan, this is a little different than what we're talking about. But as a Giants fan, in this draft, bro, I was like, it was so unexpected that I just caught me so off guard that they traded back, and I couldn't be more happy because we got the Bears' first round pick next year, and then we got some depth throughout the back too. So I mean,
I like it. I would have if I were Gettleman. What I would have done is take who was the tackle that was still available.
Oh, he went 13, I think.
He went 2 picks later.
Was it Darisaw went later. It was
look it up on your phone.
It was what's his name? Why is it
Jamie.
Why isn't it coming to me right now?
Rashawn Slater.
Yeah,
I would have taken Slater.
What did he go to the Raiders?
No, he went to Chargers.
Oh,
I would have
okay.
taken Slater. You could play him at guard or you could play him at tackle.
Guy's a freak.
The thing is, though, we do have Matt Pert at right tackle, so the Giants are. Gettleman believes in these guys. He wants them to develop. Fair point. But we need help up front still.
Yeah, that's the one area, and I think the Giants had a good draft. Because you also have to remember, they traded back. They got a first.
Yeah.
They got Kadarius Toney, right?
I think he's going to be good.
He is. He definitely will.
Yeah.
And people say, like, oh, he was a second-round prospect. They ended up getting Azeez Ojulari in the second. So it really doesn't matter. Like,
they're
both good picks.
It was a very
great
defensive draft by the Giants. It was a little surprising, too, though.
What, you think so?
I think we drafted...
we did, actually. We drafted a bunch of corners.
Yeah. And we got linebacker depth, too, in that draft. But...
I like the Tony pick, though, where we got him. A lot of people didn't have him that high because people look at him as like a gadget player.
Yeah.
He's more than that.
I think he will be. I think he'll prove
is.
to be more than that. I think those players are very valuable. You look at people thought Tyreek Hill was a gadget player coming out of college.
Exactly.
And look at what he does now. I think give Tony some. I'm not comparing the two. Give Tony a chance, and I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong.
Tony is a great route runner. Yeah, he checks all the boxes. Really, he's a great route runner. He has great hands.
Yeah.
He has phenomenal speed. In the open field, he breaks tackles, makes people miss. The only thing you could say is like, his size, which could limit him to the slot.
And his shit rap music that he makes.
He makes music. I don't
want to hear it. Bad. All right, so I hate. I was gonna say we sidetracked a little bit, partially my fault. But so you're thinking Cowboys won?
Definitely Cowboys won.
Safe pick.
They're and it's gonna be a dogfight again for this division. I think the Eagles definitely are gonna be last. You know, I'm kind of jumping the gun here.
Yeah.
But 1 through 3 could be. It's gonna be between 1 and 2 games.
It's gonna go back and forth between Washington and the Giants right there for 2 to 3 in my opinion. I love what Washington did. I also love what the Giants did. It's just, is Daniel Jones gonna take his step forward this year? And I believe in him to a degree. I think he can. But, is he going to be a top 10 guy? Is he going to be a top 15 guy? And how?
I mean, if he's a top 15 guy, we're a wild card team.
No, he's a top 15 guy. We're winning the division.
You really think so?
100%.
I think it's close.
We have the best roster in the division, I think.
Roster-wise, it's between them and Washington. I think Washington might have you beat there.
Squad either, man.
But they have a good roster, absolutely.
I think. I mean, so what do you think? What do you think is the ceiling for the Eagles this year? Like, what's the best you see them doing?
That's a great question. And by the way, USA Today, I just want to say they had them at 3 wins this year, and. The Eagles, like I'm saying, I think they're gonna finish last in the division. But saying that they're gonna win 3 games is just saying, all right, last year was a disaster. They're gonna be worse than that, which is just crazy to me. Their ceiling, though, I can't see them winning any more than 7 games. I think they're a 6-7 win team. on the high end,
Yeah.
I'd probably put them around 5.5.
Okay.
But
you also said they have the easiest schedule earlier.
Yeah,
right?
That's another point. They have a very easy schedule. They're playing a bunch of NFC East teams, which is a weaker division, but they're the worst team in the division if we're just being realistic.
Yeah.
You're getting a phone call, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Let's see who it is.
I'm just gonna decline that.
So, was it mom? You don't want to
Don't
bring
worry
mom
about
on the
it.
podcast?
So, were you ranked Cowboys? What was your second team?
If I had to put money on it right now, I'd go Cowboys, Washington.
Damn it.
Then the Giants, and then Eagles.
Okay.
But
That's
again,
fair.
it's gonna be a dogfight between those guys. I could see it just being like a tie that really separates them two.
I'll give my take on it. I think it's gonna be Dallas 1, Giants 2, Washington 3, Eagles 4. I think first is gonna be Cowboys. I think they get 9 to 10 wins.
I agree with that.
I think the Giants go
8 to 9. 8 to 9
I think
wins.
they go 9 and 8.
Okay.
I think they go 9 and 8.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I think the Giants can win the division, but it's tough.
They gotta pull
It
up.
all depends on Danny Dimes. We all know this. We're beating a dead horse here. We've been saying it for fucking forever. This guy doesn't step up, we're not
Yeah,
gonna.
it's
We'll win maybe set. If he has the year he had last year, we'll win 6 to 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
But if he has to jump, he'll cut down those turnovers, mistakes,
yes.
in a couple of those games. You win an extra game or two, you get to 8 or 9 wins. I think we go 9 and 8. I think Washington goes 8 and 9. I think Philly probably wins 6 games.
I think that's very realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what most people look at it. I mean, if you talk to a Cowboys fan, they'd probably say the Cowboys could get 11 or 12 wins. I could see that.
Cowboys should go and stay healthy though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying
if
from a
the-
Cowboys fan, like that's
If
probably what they say.
their defense is even like a top 15 unit, I could see that. Because
Yeah.
hot take, and I'm talking about the Cowboys now.
Ooh, let's go. Hot takes. We love hot takes.
Listen,
Let's hear it.
I could see all three of those receivers in that Dallas offense going over 1,000 yards.
That'd be nuts.
Definitely. No.
fucking way.
And,
I mean,
and they
they-
almost did it with
Michael Gallup is a fucking fraud.
with who? A fraud?
Michael Gallup's
Are you
a fraud.
No, stop.
All right, if he was
He's
the
a
number
fraud.
one threat on another team, he would get fucking locked down.
Well, no,
it's
he's not a number one receiver.
So yeah, but how the hell do you expect, dude? All right. With that hot take, I gotta go over this.
All right.
John said, I don't want to quote him directly, but he said something along the lines of Dak having a similar year as he did last year. Like, why can't he have the same year that he had last year? I'll tell you why. He broke his fucking leg.
Yeah, fuck you, John. Fuck you.
I'll tell you, that's why. He
all right.
broke his fucking leg. I get he had surgery in October. He's gonna be fully healthy, right? But we gotta understand the year that Dak Prescott was having last year was like unheard of. Like that was an unbelievably statistical year up to the point where he got hurt.
And they were playing behind, which is a fair argument too.
Let's be real. Injuries are
To a degree.
They're hard to come back from, and I'm not saying he won't come back from it, but he's not going to put up this. I don't think he'll put up the same numbers.
I mean, it's
You might
fair.
think he will. I don't think he will. I think it's going to be very difficult to put up the same numbers as he was doing last year.
No,
think it's very
I
fucking
definitely
difficult.
agree with you there because like if you looked
Very
at the
hard.
stats, like he was on pace for 6,000 yards. Obviously, not
No,
gonna happen.
he wasn't
He's
getting
not gonna
6,000.
be on
He's not
pace
a
for that.
fucking all-time
But
great like that.
I think he'll pass for 5,000 yards next year. I think it's very possible.
I think that if he does that, I mean, I don't think he's gonna. The reason why I don't think Michael Gallup gets 1,000 yards because Dak doesn't put up 5,000 yards.
And I see your argument.
You know,
for
we'll see.
for that.
Dak, in order for
But-
Michael Gallup to put up 1,000 yards, and all three of them over
Dak
1,000,
would have to throw for 5,000.
he would have to throw for a fuck ton, and I don't think Dak has the same years last year, so that's why did CeeDee Lamb even go over 1,000 yards this year?
He was very close. I think he was.
Dak wasn't
I
playing,
think
so.
he was. Yeah, and that's the argument for it that they almost did it when Andy Dalton was the starter and Ben DiNucci was playing a few games.
Well, the
God.
majority of those yards came from those first
Yes.
6 games.
Yes.
I don't know how long he played.
He played 5.5 games.
5.5.
Or 4
I
and
think
a
it
half.
was 4.
4.5.
Yeah.
He got hurt in the third quarter of the Giants game. He didn't slide. Idiot.
We'll see how he recovers from this injury. He looks great. I was watching some clips from training.
I-
It looks good.
I think he's going to
Yeah.
come back and have a comeback player of the year type season. I think that's a whole nother thing we could talk about.
Yeah,
I think
we'll get to that later a
he's
little bit.
definitely the strong candidate for that. I think he's going to do well.
Okay.
I think Saquon has a shot for the comeback player of the year.
And Odell.
Bosa
too.
Bosa's got a chance
Bosa.
too.
I don't think Odell will because I don't think that offense suits him very well. I don't think him and Baker have a good connection. Not like on a personal level, but on like a football level.
I know.
They don't seem to get on this. They don't seem to align well, like play calling wise, and like
with
run heavy offense too.
Yeah, but ever since they got their new coach, Kevin Stefanski, they've first of all, he's a great coach.
Did he win Coach of the Year?
He did.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
run heavy though. It's very
and guys, it was just a coincidence. A lot of people use this against him and say, "Oh, Odell got hurt and their offense magically got better." Like,
no.
That just doesn't make sense. You don't say that. Odell is a crazy talent.
The only argument for that is that why Odell made the offense worse is because he demands a certain amount of volume,
and that's a fair argument.
And when he's on the field, there might be some talks back and forth with Baker about give me the fucking ball, like come on, like just sort of like nothing like personal, but I'm sure that went on.
No, absolutely,
because Odell wants what's his.
You could see it when they play that Mayfield was trying to force in the ball sometimes when he shouldn't. But at the end of the day, you want to play with a guy like Odell. As much, with the diva stuff, I don't think he's a diva, but every receiver
I think a little bit.
Every receiver wants the ball. That's the big thing, and you want to play with a guy that wants the ball and who could take over a game like
a
that.
Guy like Baker trying to force the ball to a guy in like double coverage, like that can make your offense.
It can.
So
I don't think Baker's that guy to be able to force those.
He tried. No, but you can see it.
You're not that guy.
Yeah, he tried though. Like, he was like, "Fuck, I gotta get the ball to Odell." Odell's numbers were pretty bad last year.
Fuck you. I had him in fantasy.
His numbers were pretty bad.
He was doing all right. He wasn't the rookie Odell.
It's not the Odell we know. It's not the Odell we know.
Exactly. But and when you try to force the ball, that you basically force turnovers almost. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the Eagles a little bit. I have a question for Mike. What is the Mount Rushmore of Eagles players?
I really like this question.
I think it's a fun one. I think it's really
definitely
fun.
So obviously we're picking 4 here. 2 right off the bat. You got to go with Reggie White.
Carson Wentz.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, right.
Nick Foles. That's an interesting one. Does Nick Foles go on your Mount Rushmore?
Guys, no, he doesn't.
Can't,
I'm sorry.
Right? Nah.
We'll put him as an honorable mention. We love Big Nick.
No, I feel like I feel like he kind of has to be an honorable mention. Like not
just
like a close one, but exactly.
Just because of the statue of him outside the Eagles facility.
Yeah.
that Wentz had to go to work every day and look at.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing. But Reggie White would definitely be on there, and Brian Dawkins, obviously Weapon X.
Okay.
So then we got 2 more here. This is where it gets interesting. I think for one of them, I'm gonna have to go quarterback, and as much as I want to put Randall Cunningham there, who's probably my favorite Eagles quarterback of all time, I'm gonna roll with McNabb because he was just the best overall. And for the last one, I want to put a receiver there, and it's between Mike Quick or Harold Carmichael. I'm definitely gonna go Harold Carmichael.
I was gonna say
6'8" monster. One of the top. He was one of the tallest receivers. I think he is the tallest receiver to ever play in the NFL.
Oh shit! Really?
He's probably our best wide receiver of all time. Him or Mike Quick.
The only people I ever scared of on the Eagles when back in the day, like that Mike Vick to Sean Jackson. In like the first play of the fucking game, he would just launch it and it would score every time.
Also, one of my favorite players ever. His whole swag and the way he played was just.
Sean Jackson.
Yeah.
He was. I was always terrified playing against him.
Fuck him.
Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Yep. So we could get into this game I prepared for Mike. This time we haven't prepared. Nick's not just throwing me on the spot here. So we're gonna go through. I'm gonna give you 2 teams. You're gonna tell me who has a better record. So first 2 teams, and you could talk. Feel free to explain a little bit. So we got Steelers Browns.
Oh, that's an easy one. That's the Browns easily. That's gonna be interesting with that division, the AFC North. The Browns have I'm gonna be honest, they have the best roster in the league. They do.
You think so?
Their only hole would be at like inside linebacker. But
they just got Karam, that guy from Notre Dame, the linebacker.
Yeah, and exactly. They drafted JOK, Jeremiah Owusu.
Oh my God, AJ would not shut up about that guy.
The dude's a beast.
AJ would not shut up about that guy.
He's
good.
And he fits that team really well. They needed a middle linebacker who can cover.
Yeah, it's crazy that he actually fell that late. But it's gonna be between them and the Ravens. I also really love the Ravens. Obviously, love Lamar Jackson on that team. But It's between them two. If I had to pick, I'd go with the Browns at 1, actually. Ravens 2. And listen, our buddy Jared isn't going to like this one. I'm not going to say that they're going to finish last, but the Bengals are going to be better than they were last year. And you watch their games, they were all like one-score games. Joe Burrow kept them in those games. And one thing with one-score games is it's bound to flip the other way. There's no way to predict it, but those are games that are toss-ups. And with the Steelers, I love their defense. But with Big Ben aging and
actually didn't the Steelers just get Melvin Ingram? He's a big.
They just signed Melvin Ingram. They have a great defense, but I really don't believe in their offense.
TJ Watt's a baller. I think what I think about this is I think a little bit too. I think the Steelers, they had their streak in the beginning of last season. They showed up. Everyone's like, holy shit, they're good. And then they just fell off. The shit hit the fan. And I think everyone's expect so lowly of them. I think they could surprise a few people this year. I'm not saying possibly not win the division, but I think a lot of people are calling them like shit bags. This team sucks. Mm-hmm. They're not that bad still. They still have a top 5 defense in the league at the end of the day. Their receiving core still is good. They just got Najee Harris. That's a big pickup. Mm-hmm. Eric Ebron, he can't really, his fucking catching is a little shaky, but
they drafted Pat Fryermuth out of Penn State too.
Okay.
So your original question was Browns or Steelers though?
Yeah.
Definitely Browns though. Yeah, by far.
You know they have their projected win. They're both at over 9.5.
No, I say Steelers under.
I say under. Definitely over for the Browns. I agree.
Okay. And then we got Seahawks 49ers. I think
Ooh.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one because
they're also both at 9.5. I believe.
The 49ers quarterback situation.
Yeah, and it's hard. I don't want to be that guy that says, last year, the 49ers had a ton of injuries and that could happen again. I'm just playing hypotheticals here. But if I had to roll with one, I'd go with the Niners above the Seahawks. As long as Russ is in Seattle, they're going to be a good team. But I don't really like what they did in their draft. I don't think they really did much to help the team. And I think their defense is going to struggle again. They have some pieces there, but there's holes there. It's just Russ and who he's throwing to, really.
I mean, DK and Lockett. Yeah.
They did draft Dwayne Eskridge late in the draft, who I think could be a surprising
player. Does he play?
What's that?
What position does he play?
He's a wide receiver.
Okay.
But he's definitely someone to keep in mind. And I like their running back, Chris Carson. It's just their O-line
I'm going to go with 49ers.
Definitely.
I think the thing with the 49ers is that the 49ers, I'm going to go on a limb here and say the 49ers are Super Bowl, definitely Super Bowl contenders next year. I think with the roster that they have, with all the guys coming back. But it's going to put them in a predicament. Let's say they do make it to the Super Bowl or even NFC Championship. You got, what do you do with Jimmy G then? Jimmy G's going to be the starter next year, I think.
Yeah.
They're going to give Trey Lance a year. I would if I were them.
Yeah, I think it's a safe choice.
And then what do you do after that? You're going to have the same Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers conversation where it's like, you brought in a guy to replace you, and then he's actually puts up a great year.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a predicament. Okay, sorry. I was just going to say I'm rocking with the 49ers still.
Okay.
I think they did have a lot of injuries last year. A lot of teams did, but I think they got a special squad. Shout out to our boy Manav. We love you. Mike's roommate.
My roommate at University of Maryland.
No, that's gonna be an interesting.
Cannot wait. By the way.
So I want to kind of sidetrack a little bit from this little thing we're doing. What do you think about this Aaron Rodgers situation? Since I just brought him up.
Oh, I like this question. Oh, listen, and my dad actually is a huge Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay fan, but he's a smart man. I don't want to sit here and say that Aaron Rodgers is like an idiot, but how much does he think he's gonna get in that much better of a situation than he is on the Packers? Listen, the media protects Rodgers like he's their golden child. I
agree. I was watching ESPN this morning. It's the same. I was thinking the same thing.
It's no disrespect to him. The guy is definitely a top 10 quarterback of all time when he retires, but. The guy's a terrible leader. Number one, you just watch his games. You'll
see body language.
Yeah, his body language is terrible. A receiver will drop a pass and he'll just stare at him. He'll give him a death stare. What? Why would you want to play with a quarterback that does that? And the guy had an MVP season last year. The guy has all the talent in the world, but at the end of the day, we're gonna need to stop making excuses for him. In the NFC Championship, the guy is 1-4. He had a chance to beat Tom Brady several times.
Multiple times,
His defense, and people want to say, oh, his defense is terrible. They're all right. They forced 3 turnovers in the second half, and Rodgers they had a chance to put the game away, and he just didn't. And, that's just how it went. And also, the guy played with a top 3 O-line last year, one of the best running games. He's throwing to the best receiver in the league. Yeah. And he's just throwing fits. And I get it to a degree, because why did they draft Jordan Love? Why? But I
think that's got to be the turning point for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That has to be, because everything else makes no sense to me. Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you. Everyone's complaining, they haven't drafted a wide receiver in 10 years. Like, they've also had the best offense in the league, probably, for those 10 years. So why do you need
Rodgers has played with great players over his career.
Why do you need to add wide receiver talent when you have guys who are stepping up and playing great, when your defense can't fucking do shit? So obviously you address the defensive side of the ball first. Like, you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Devonta Adams, Aaron Jones, you have great offensive players, great O-line. Why do you need to keep drafting offensive players?
100%.
Your defense sucks, you draft defense. I think it's very, very easy to understand.
It's very easy to understand.
I don't get what this whole thing was. I think it's like a respect thing, but why? It has to be something that no one knows about, because if we want, like, that whole drafting perspective is stupid. That makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Your offense is a top 5 offense in the league for a decade, and you're going to tell me that, because you didn't draft a wide receiver? That's a horrible argument. I don't want to ever hear that.
It just doesn't make sense, because, and again, I get it, because they ended up drafting a quarterback.
That is the one thing.
Yeah. So because then they just threw everything out the window and just went after a quarterback. But I agree. They didn't need to draft a receiver. Would it have been cool? Yeah. Would it have helped Rodgers? Maybe. But,
was there a receiver at that point that gave enough value?
Exactly.
Maybe not on their board.
For me, I always you could judge draft picks as much as you want, but when I look at it, it's like if a team drafts in the right position, I mean, this is not defending them at all, but if a team drafts in the right position, I don't think you could ever be mad at the draft pick. This is a little sidetrack, but like for example, when the Eagles drafted Rieger, I don't know how you say his name, but like he was like they thought like he was like, all right, like we think he's our guy. So I don't think you could only judge a team so much for not selecting a guy. But when you draft out of position, that's when it's like, all right, that was a fucking stupid ass draft pick.
The thing is, though,
that's how I look at it always.
Drafting Jordan Love is they saw, like, you have to understand that the Packers have been very, very good for a long time, and there's a reason for that.
They have good management.
But at the same time, a guy like Jordan Love drops, a guy with probably top 15 value in that draft, top 20 value, he drops to 27, 28, somewhere around there, 29 maybe. And you see a guy that Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to play forever. This guy has a lot on your board, your own draft board. He's probably very high up on it, because he was one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the draft, and quarterbacks are not easy to come by. And you're looking for the next 15 to 20 years. You're not looking just for the next season.
100. You're hitting the nail right on the head right now.
Yeah, I don't see why that's such a. It is a big deal for Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers also being a fucking baby about it. He's being a baby.
If we're being honest, yeah,
it really is.
But it goes back to what we said before, that if you have a chance to draft a franchise quarterback, you do it. And you can't blame a team for thinking about the future. You got to think about it from their perspective, like you were saying. Aaron Rodgers, the year before his MVP season, he was an all right quarterback. It was looking like he was gonna start declining heavily, and he goes out and has an MVP season.
Motivation. Maybe that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, so it kind of throws a fork in it. But
I got a question. This is you would know what I'm talking about, but it's like PSG.
With Donnarumma
getting Donnarumma when you already have Keylor Navas, but Donnarumma is going to be the best goal in the world for 15 years.
Yeah,
Keylor Navas is only going to be maybe for 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So it's like you take that chance.
No, yeah, I completely understand.
So it's the same thing,
yeah. So do you guys want to keep talking about this, or we can move to receivers who you think will have more?
I'm going to talk about. We're on quarterbacks right now. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, we didn't bring that up.
We never brought Deshaun Watson.
Okay,
to the Eagles.
Deshaun Watson to the Eagles, Mike. Let's hear it. What do you think?
This is a tough subject for me, because obviously, I want a top 5 quarterback on my team. Mm-hmm. But is it really worth it? Because and I'm just gonna put everything that's going on with him aside, because we really don't know what's going on with that. But we're definitely in the best position to trade for someone like him. We're gonna have 3 first-round picks next year. You know,
that's unreal.
We're getting one from when we traded down with the I think it was the Niners from 6 to 12. And we're also going to get one from the Wentz trade. It's a conditional pick, so we'll see what happens. But it's looking like we're gonna get that pick.
Because the Colts are going to be good next year.
Yeah,
so.
And so we definitely have what it takes to give up for him. We're probably going to have to give up all 3 of those first-round picks, though. And I think if we give up those picks and get Deshaun Watson, I think we can make the playoffs. Honestly, I don't think we're a lock, but I think we could make the playoffs if we made that trade. But then we're kind of trading away our future, where our team is getting older, especially on our offensive line, and we're basically banking on next year being our year.
But then you also think about it too. I mean, Philly's a good market. You have a player like Deshaun Watson. The receivers want to play with an elite quarterback like that. So if you're the GM, are you pulling the trigger on that or no?
I would have to have a long talk, and Howie wouldn't do that.
No,
but
yeah.
I'd have to have a talk with everyone in the building, really, because with Watson, it isn't just the guy's great, and we have 3 first-round picks. It's a guy with some legal issues going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really a tough one. Frankly, I wanna, because I don't even know if Deshaun Watson plays it down this year. I really don't.
No, yeah.
I really want to see what Hurts has as a fan, though. So it's a different perspective. If you're the GM, I think you do what's best for the team. But
I feel like
I want to see what Hurts has.
If the legal situation gets resolved, I think
that changes things a lot.
I think you should do it.
If
I'm the Eagles, I'm a Giants fan, so I really hope you don't. But if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm like, I would really. It's like Dame Lillard to the Knicks. It's like you want to see that happen because at the end of the day, it's gonna be better for your team.
James Harden to the Nets, James Harden, Katie and Kyrie were obviously new players when they came in because it was their first season playing together, second season with the team. But they traded away so many of the guys that made this team what they are. So it's so tough to let go of a player like that.
And you're banking on
Karis
that
LeVert,
year,
Jared Allen.
Year.
Yeah. So
if I'm the Eagles, Deshaun Watson, like we talked about before, is the top 5 quarterback in the league.
Absolutely.
You don't have that very rarely comes around an opportunity to get a player of that caliber. And if I'm the Eagles, I say he's better than we have right now.
For sure.
He's probably more valuable than any draft pick we'll ever have in the next 10 years. Most likely. Chances are, because he was at number. What? He
went 2, right?
He went number 10.
10?
I think it was 10.
Yeah, he went 10.
Holy shit!
He's like He's like a top 5. He's like a generational talent. And you take a guy. If you have the opportunity to trade for a guy like that, I would do it because quarterback is the most important position in all of football, and he'll change the trajectory of your future.
Goes back to what we've been saying this whole episode. If you have a chance to get your franchise guy, you do it. And again, I agree with it. It's different looking at it from a fan's perspective, but yeah, I think that would be the right move for them as a team. It's just it's the legal issues that really just
the Eagles
messes
go
things
straight
up.
from the last place in the division to maybe making the playoffs.
They're in the mix with the Giants and the football team.
It's one of the football teams.
I mean,
it's one of the better divisions.
Not trying to get canceled.
If that happens, the NFC East it go from one of the worst divisions in the league to
it would be.
I mean, I think it improved massively already.
But now you had Deshaun Watson in that mix. Anyone could be first and anyone could be last. So it's gonna be a great year to watch the NFC East.
I think so.
Even if it doesn't, but if it does, it'll be amazing to watch.
You guys got anything more on that? Because we can move to these receivers now.
That's pretty much it. We can get into that.
So we got 2 receivers, same concept as the teams. We got Diggs and D-Hop. Who's gonna have more receiving yards?
Diggs or
D-Hop. We're gonna talk about receiving yards.
Yes.
Or just overall season.
I think receiving yards. We could.
Hard thing to judge. I feel like.
It is. I could definitely put my best shot at it, but
All right. Well, you want to go off best season? We can do that too. Whatever you guys.
Who has better season?
Yeah. Let's go. I'm cool with that. Including touchdowns and everything.
2 great players. You could really go in any direction. I'm gonna roll with Diggs definitely though. The guy led the league in receiving last year.
Yeah.
Him and in their first year together, him and Josh Allen, they're only gonna
They've torched the league.
They're only gonna get better. They're they're going to be passing the ball a lot, the Bills, because they have a lot of questions about the run game. I definitely would go with Diggs. D-Hop, I think.
D-Hop is favorited, by the way, in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely go against that. D-Hop had a good season last year, but not like he usually is.
They also got AJ Green too. The Cardinals.
Speaking of D-Hop, I saw something today. I just reminded myself. D-Hop, you know how the NFL has like this very strict vaccine policy.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, and I was like,
D-Hop says, "I'm questioning my future in the league, in the NFL right now because of the policy, because he doesn't want to get vaccinated." And so take it how you want it, but I think the NFL is being very strict with it, and I think it's honestly they're basically giving players an ultimatum, which I think is really wrong.
It is very wrong. I think it's wrong.
I think these players should have a choice of what they want to do. And because what they do is the reason why they're basically giving these players an ultimatum is because if too many players test positive, they could forfeit a game.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's crazy.
They take the loss.
I think they're just taking the loss instantly if they're.
No, they're not. They're going to reschedule. Okay. I saw it today. If they're going to try to reschedule the games, but if the game fails to be rescheduled, it's the team's responsibility. So they have to forfeit the game if they can't reschedule, and I think that's so wrong. If these players don't want to get vaccinated, take the protocols that they did last year.
Yeah, it sucks.
And it's easy from the fans' perspective to be like, oh, like just do this, just do that. Like they need to side with the players a lot more than they do, and they do to a degree. But that brings up the whole thing last year, adding another game to the regular season. None of these players wanted that.
Yeah,
more a 17-game season in the eyes of a football player, like your body's just getting destroyed.
Bro, by week 1, you're already carrying an injury.
Yeah.
All of these players, whether they say it or not, they're all carrying
absolutely.
The hamstring's tight, the calf,
everything.
The quad, anything.
By week 16, just imagine how they're feeling.
The ice bath only does so much.
The rotated cuff.
That's going to be deciding in their playoff run. Or their playoff picture, like how their standings and stuff, which is not gonna be like a fucking exhibition. It's very taxing on these players, and they definitely didn't want it.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you with the whole vaccination thing. It should be their choice.
No doubt.
To me, you can't force someone to do that. Like it's just not right. That's just my opinion, though.
I agree with that.
So wait, I don't know if you said your pick on Diggs or D-Hop.
Oh, I take Diggs.
I'm taking Diggs too.
D-Hop might not play.
Exactly. I mean, we're saying D-Hop fully healthy. Yeah.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Definitely Diggs.
I think this is a pretty interesting one too. I think I know who Mike's gonna take. But DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson. He's a big Justin Jefferson guy.
I am a big Justin Jefferson guy, but that was a tough one. Listen,
wait, what was
it? That just
DK Metcalf or
this whole DK slander needs to stop. By the way,
slander.
People hate on people hate on him way too much. There's players that drop a lot more passes.
Oh, trust me, you would know.
Exactly. Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. I think
dropping babies.
DK is an absolute unit, bro. He's not like physically, yes, but as a football player, like he's very, very good.
Yeah.
I take DK in this.
Yeah, you know what? I have every reason to say Justin Jefferson is going to be even better than he was last year. But I'm going to roll with DK with this one.
Damn, I thought that'd be a really good one. I thought we'd split up. I'm going DK too.
I'd go with DK. DK put up 1,300 yards last year. Justin Jefferson was 1,400, but DK's going to get the ball.
Yeah. Well, Russell Wilson is just that much better of a quarterback than
Kirk Cousins.
So he'll be on the field longer. Mm-hmm. He'll have more opportunity to get those numbers up.
I think it's going to be close, though. I wouldn't just bank, but I think I'll roll with DK.
Okay, so now we're going to move to running back, same concept. So you got Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook. I think a lot of people think this is a no-brainer, but I think Dalvin Cook's going to be a stud this year. I think he's been a stud. Yeah, I think he's going to have more rushing yards than Derrick Henry.
I disagree with that.
I
disagree with that.
Again, it's not a hot take, by the way.
It's not that far off.
All, because Dalvin Cook is a top. I think he's a top 3 running back, honestly.
Yeah.
Coming off last season,
he is a stud. He's gonna get fed just like King Henry is. Oh man, I think it's hard to go away from from Henry though, because he's just gonna get.
He's gonna get 2 games of the season. He's gonna get 2 200-yard games.
But the argument could be Tennessee added Julio Jones.
Yeah,
they're still run heavy though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think the Julio adding kind of changed a little things for me.
I got one. This might be. You might think I'm crazy for even asking this, but Saquon or Miles Sanders?
I mean, come on, man.
Saquon.
I had some stuff written down with them.
You do?
Yeah.
You do?
Actually.
No, it's all right.
It's
Saquon or Miles, but I think listen. As much as I love Saquon, this is actually like I'm taking this like seriously, like
as you should.
Let's say Saquon and Miles Sanders get like the same kind of volume.
Mm-hmm.
It can go either way because Miles Sanders is legit.
Yes, he is. That's one thing that I mentioned briefly, that they need to give him the ball. And the thing is that there is more competition in the Eagles' backfield. Again, they drafted Kenneth Gainwell, and they have Kerryon Johnson in that backfield. But I want to see them give him the ball. He's gonna put up. He can put up over 1,200 yards if they give him the ball.
Overall.
Just rushing, I'm talking.
Okay.
I'm talking just rushing. But
Saquon's got capabilities of putting up 2,000 yards.
It's just.
But it's if he could stay healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can. That's why I asked this question.
Yeah. The thing is, you just know Saquon. As long as he's healthy, he's gonna get the workload, and he's the easy pick.
Yeah, I'll go with Saquon too, obviously. But that was just.
I think Miles Sanders needs the ball more, and it could be much more of a discussion.
Okay. All right, so. We went through a decent bit, so I kind of want to do like a nice little speed round, kind of rip them quickly. Don't really think about it too much. Just get your first impression, and then we have some. We're gonna have some of those picks, and then we're gonna do some futures for the players after that, and then we'll be looking to wrap it up after. So more wins, Titans or Colts?
Ooh,
quick.
I'm gonna go Titans.
Who you got?
Titans.
I'm going Colts.
Receiving I think that depends about Carson Wentz, but
receiving yards, Keenan Allen or Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin.
Keenan Allen.
Terry McLaurin.
Better quarterback.
Keenan Allen will have more receptions, but Terry McLaurin will have more receiving yards.
Fair enough.
Better quarterback situation.
Jonathan Taylor or Antonio Gibson?
Antonio Gibson. I'm on the hype train.
Oh,
I'm on the hype train. Antonio Gibson last I was so glad I did. I drafted him. Or I picked him up.
I think
he had 8 games where he had 100 plus straight rushing yards.
And listen. I'm taking a bit of a hot take, because obviously Jonathan Taylor is a beast, but there is some competition in that backfield, and I think people are thinking he's gonna be like this top 5 running. No, he's not. He's gonna be top 10. He's not gonna be a top 5 guy. But I'm on the Gibson.
I'm taking Gibson too.
I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about some futures right here. We got offensive MVP. What are we thinking here? This is not a speed round. You can take your time to think about
offensive MVP. That's close. So we're not talking about MVP. We're just talking about offensive player of the year.
Yeah. You could say MVP too. Whatever you really want. I feel like most of the time.
It is hard because you could go so many directions.
Oh, I completely understand.
Because it's like, do I want to pick a quarterback here? Obviously, MVP is a quarterback position.
Wait, so offensive player of the year, if the MVP can you get both awards or no?
It usually doesn't happen that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking more like you'd say like a running back or a receiver somewhere here.
Yeah, I'd probably say a running back. And you know what? You brought up Dalvin Cook earlier. I think he is definitely a candidate for it. If I was to go running back, I'd go either him or maybe Nick Chubb, even though he's playing with Kareem Hunt.
Wow, really?
Even though he's playing with Kareem Hunt.
The half chubber.
But
dude, that was my fantasy football team name.
Half Chubb.
Because I drafted.
I can't remember one. I think mine was Odell's poop stains in the beginning. Because that came out.
His name was Cleveland Steamers.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
I think Brandon McNaught had his team name. So
of course.
All right. So who you thinking offensive MVP?
Yeah. I'm gonna give like a receiver and a running back, because that's usually like who it goes to. And like I said, I think I'll go with like Dalvin Cook for offensive player of the year, for running back, and for receiver, I think I'm gonna roll with. I'm trying to remember who won it last year. Did it go to Diggs? Do you guys
I don't remember, but I'm thinking Cooks and Diggs.
You're giving a wide receiver and running back?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a wide receiver too because
it could go either way.
Yeah. If I had to pick a receiver,
I'm gonna
go with Michael Thomas.
Okay, but if you had to pick one,
yeah, I'm gonna go with Michael Thomas.
Really, I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, well, if you had to pick one, who you taking though?
I'd go Dalvin Cook if I had to pick one. But listen, you guys.
Give us yours.
I was thinking Cook because I'm thinking Cook's gonna be a beast this season. That's my guy. Where I'm like, this guy's gonna be a fucking animal. That's me.
Offensive player of the year. I'm gonna go running back McCaffrey.
Okay.
Wide receiver.
I mean, we haven't talked about McCaffrey at all today.
I'm gonna go McCaffrey. I think he's gonna have a big year.
I think so too.
That team's looking a lot better.
I think of top wide receivers. If Aaron Rodgers plays, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you had to pick one, okay, that's fair.
Defense. Oh, we my defense.
Oh yeah, we have defensive MVPs coming up now.
I want to go last. You go first.
My first person comes to mind is Myles Garrett.
Bro, I was gonna fucking
complete animal.
I thought no one was gonna say that. I was gonna say
Myles Garrett for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna be pretty basic and say Aaron Donald or T.J. Watt's got a good chance.
I was thinking of those three. That's what.
If Aaron Donald gets that MVP, I think we're and you guys are Giants fans, but I think we're talking defensive GOAT. Like, listen,
Taylor, GOAT.
It's
take a lap.
Right
take
now,
a lap.
Right now, it's a debate though. But if he gets four defensive player of the years,
it is a debate.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean,
it's never happened.
People think Lawrence Taylor was the best player of all time, like best football player ever. Some people think that.
Yeah, and
that's like, I mean, I've never seen him play, but like,
I mean, he did a shit ton of coke too.
Yeah.
On the sideline, exactly.
But I actually want to talk about my other choice. You guys were really surprised about the Michael Thomas pick. Why so though?
I don't know.
Quarterback situation.
Yeah.
No more Drew Brees.
No. Yeah. I think that helps him though.
I thought him and Brees had a good connection.
They had a good connection, running slants. The whole
slant boy.
But he's still getting his touches though. And Brees is
Jameis, I think
a slinger.
He could surprise people. I'm not gonna make a prediction on how good he's gonna be, but he's gonna get the ball to Michael Thomas. If you're a receiver and you want to show off your skills, you play with Jameis Winston because he's gonna
all over him.
But he's gonna throw you the ball. And
fair point.
The guy put up 1,800 yards with Drew Brees just a few years ago.
But I feel like Michael Thomas's volume is what made him that great. Mm-hmm. And Drew Brees gave him that.
He's definitely gonna get that volume again.
You think so?
For sure.
That's an interesting pick.
All right.
I said Myles Garrett for defense as well. What do you say, Aaron Donald?
Yeah, TJ Watt got robbed this year. I think
it was definitely
close. Maybe not robbed, but
MVP.
I was gonna do comeback player of the year right now.
Oh, we'll do MVP last.
Yeah, we'll do MVP last. Save best for last. Comeback player of the year. Rooting with my boy Saquon. I mean,
me too.
I just want him to win. Maybe
it's between him and Dak.
Dak is my choice for sure.
I think Bosa's got. He's a little underrated in this race. I think
Odell has a case too.
Yeah, I know, but.
But
I'm gonna go with it's either Saquon or Dak. I think Dak will
fuck
probably.
Dak.
I think Dak will probably win it. If he has a good year, I think he'll probably win it because of how horrific his injury was. But Saquon, he had an ACL tear, which is just as bad. I'm gonna go Saquon.
I think you could even. No one's talking about it, but I think you could make the case for like Wentz even though because it usually goes to someone who gets hurt and then comes back. But I mean, come on, if a guy stinks it up like as bad as he did, and then he comes back like playing good. Point. I think he should have like an argument in that, but I would definitely roll with Dak. That's really the easy choice, though, to be honest.
All right, for what we've all been waiting for, MVP.
MVP, okay.
This is I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna take a little bold choice right here.
Okay.
No, I was thinking about saying it, but I can't. I'm gonna say Baker Mayfield.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just being bold as shit. Watch, throwing for 6,000 yards.
No way.
Not that many. No, but I mean,
Baker Mayfield. Oh, wow.
I want to be bold.
That's like
I want to be bold.
And then there's I completely disagree with that.
Skip Bayless over here.
Don't worry, that take will be on TikTok.
I'll go last.
I don't know. I gotta think about this a little bit, bro. I'm between a couple players. Thinking if Aaron Rodgers plays, he could definitely be in the conversation. If he plays the whole year, if he likes
basic,
he can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
Aaron Donald.
Wow, from defense, okay.
He can win. I think it's It's gonna be a quarterback.
Yeah, it's a quarterback award.
So it's gonna be. Dude,
I'll go. You think about it.
I don't know. I gotta think about it.
My dark horse would probably be. I'll give two of them. It would probably be Matthew Stafford. Even though it's a bold take, and you brought him up just before, but I think the guy's in like one of the best situations he could be in. Playing with Sean McVay too. There's no reason why he's not gonna have the best season of his career, in my opinion. And if they go on to win 12 plus games, I think he could definitely win it. Another player, and I'm just gonna give like dark horse guys.
Okay, I hear you.
Listen, Kyler Murray, man. The guys they need to win though. They need to win though. Then that's the big thing. I don't like Cliff Kingsbury as their coach. I think he's a terrible coach. I think that's what's really holding him back. But I think he's a guy that has that ability.
You think Josh Allen's a dark horse, or do you think he's more of not a dark horse candidate anymore?
I don't think he's a dark horse candidate anymore, and I think he's definitely
he's in that top 3, top 5.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid choice for it. I would even say it's hard to say because we don't know what's going to happen. If the Cowboys go on to win 11 games, you could give it to Dak, man. You could, and he has a good season. I hope not too. But
my dark horse is Justin Herbert. Okay. Dark horse.
No, yeah, I respect it. I have a different opinion on the whole Justin Herbert, but yeah.
Justin Herbert. My favorite, I think, is Pat Mahomes.
That's the easy choice.
Yeah, so that's my favorite for actually like my prediction. Dark horse, Justin Herbert.
I mean, okay, Baker Mayfield was a little bit of a dark horse. I'm not gonna lie.
A little bit.
But if I think he has a chance though. I watch.
If he plays,
he doesn't put up enough, like his numbers aren't good.
Yeah,
enough.
I see why you're saying that though, because if he plays
the
way
win 15 games and he'll have 4,000 passing yards.
The way he played down the stretch last year, if he could do that the whole season, he could win it. But is he gonna play like that the whole season?
Probably fucking not.
Yeah, and I'm not a person who just thinks a coach has to do with all the success of a quarterback, but Baker's in the best situation in the entire league, and it's not even up for debate.
I think that helps him out.
Matt Stafford, I think, is up for debate.
You think so?
Yeah.
I
mean, they said it. No one could be in a better situation than Matt Stafford. You just said it a second ago.
I'm like playing like hypothetically. Like he's in like a top 3 situation in my opinion. But Baker's in the best. Okay. But like I said with Stafford, the guy has had some ups and downs in his careers. A lot of people think he's been a lot better than he has been. He's been a good quarterback over his career. But I think he's throwing to an underrated cast with Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. He's got they did lose Cam Akers too though. Darrell Henderson will have a good year.
I like him. I like that guy.
No, he'll definitely be good, but he's no Cam Akers. But he is.
Where he gets drafted in fantasy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But
we definitely should have a fantasy football episode.
Yeah, I was thinking about bringing that up actually when we were at the end of this. But
that would be dope.
Yeah, we could definitely. We have a bunch of our guys that are in the fantasy league have been on the podcast. We've seen AJ here before. We've seen John.
League commissioner.
Oh God, money holder.
Future winner.
Yeah, take a lap.
Yep.
Go take a lap.
I came in second place last year in mine.
First loser.
I came in third last year with McCaffrey and Mixon as my top 2 picks, and both of them got hurt.
I don't like drafting Joe Mixon in fantasy. That's a different episode.
I traded for Mixon.
Maybe we could do a post draft episode. We could give like our who we think's gonna finish where in our league. Yeah. So I don't know when our draft is exactly. It's gonna be around the early September.
We gotta put up. You know what we could do? We could put up like a list of like each person's team, like kind of like a graphic. And
that would be cool. I might be away at Maryland, but I would love.
We're gonna be doing Zoom stuff.
Okay,
somehow.
you gotta have me on that for sure.
No, yeah. Well, we're pleased to have you.
All right.
And we'll just do like a big Zoom one.
Yeah. We just can't have too many people. I think it'd get a little too hectic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe 5, but that's about it. But I think that should do it. We're at about an hour and 10 minutes right now. What an episode. Yeah, I didn't realize. I was kept looking over, and next thing you know, I'm like, holy shit.
Right, so we're going to wrap it up. So thanks, everyone, if you made it this far. We appreciate you.
Special thanks to Mike.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for coming on today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Beast, bro. It was a great episode.
He's starting his own podcast as well, so we're going to at him. Do you have an Instagram account for it or not?
I do not have that yet. And I actually... I really haven't really started. I made the channel. It's actually called No Filter Football. If any of you guys want
I could link that in the bio of
I appreciate that 100%.
No
but yeah, once I
if
go
there's
away
an
to
Instagram,
college,
you let me know and stuff.
It's definitely something that I'm trying to get going. And again, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome.
It was a pleasure.
Course,
it was a pleasure.
We
love having the friends on for sure. All right, that's about it, guys. All right, thank you.
Guys. Peace.